Oh yeah, sexy biscuits. Nice.
Long boys blues, 1975. Using girls on the rise. Reviewing games late at night and sometimes friends. But Long boys blues, 1975.
Hey YouTube, Longboys Post 1975. I've decided to take a break from the TurboGrafx 16 mini videos, but rest assured I will be pumping them out still because I absolutely love and adore that mini. But I want to do something a little bit different, a bit of a vlog about the SEGA Saturn, a random vlog I should say, because yeah, I found out something the other day. I've been living a lie, or I should say I've been living under an assumption as to what Saturn model I own. What was technically the Model 1, and a thing about control pads. I'm jumping ahead of myself. Now, to people out there who are die-hard Saturn enthusiasts, completionists, etc. and stuff like that, I'm going to say, I can't believe you didn't know this. Couple of reasons for that. I have a massive amount of nostalgia and love for the systems that I bought myself. I bought upon launch, such as Japanese Mega Drive, Japanese Super Famicom, and Japanese PlayStation. So in order to get these systems, or learn absolutely everything I could about these systems and carry on learning about these systems once they were launched, I would do everything I can to read up on them in any form of media, obviously prior to the internet. So it was a learning experience from before owning these systems to after owning these systems that would constantly grow and evolve. Now, I have a massive amount of nostalgia for the SEGA Saturn, but I never owned one back in the day. My brother did, because he didn't see the point initially until chippage or chippage of owning the same system as me. So he bought a SEGA Saturn, and that's where I got experience of it, because I got to play it, but because it wasn't my system, I couldn't rinse the hell out of it, and obviously I had no control or input onto what games were bought for it, or what peripherals were bought for it. I guess I could have bought them myself, but why would I do such a thing when it was money I could have spent on the PlayStation? So I didn't know a massive amount of anything about the Saturn other than the games I would play. I loved it, I enjoyed it, but not to the extent of the nostalgia I have the consoles that I bought myself at the time. So years and years and years and years went by. 5 years or so ago, I bought a Sega Saturn just because it was cheap, and just because I fancied owning a Sega Saturn all these many years later, having watched gameplay videos on YouTube, just gameplay videos really, and thinking, I want to play that, I certainly want to play the Virtua Fighter series and stuff like that. So I jumped into it. 5 years ago, what did I pay for a box Saturn? It was about 50 quid, I think. I don't know what they go for now. There is a reason why I'm talking this topic. I'll get to that. I'm jumping ahead of myself, as I quite frequently do. But yeah, so I just assumed, because that Saturn that I had the same pad as my brothers did, back in the day, that was the Model 1. Now, again, the only other videos I watched on the Sega Saturn online are stuff about the botched launch, because I find it interesting, but I've never really watched any overviews that, show the console and stuff like that and go through it and releases of it or variants of it, because I did kind of know there were two models. Here, we're kind of getting to the point now. But anyway, so my brother had the same model as me. I just assumed it was a Model 1. It wasn't, so I guess, your memory is fuzzy. He didn't get it as early as I thought he did. And because, I kind of thought he did, thought that was a Model 1, therefore thought mine was a Model 1, because it had the same pad. A nice pad. And way before that, when I bought, the night of buying my imported Japanese PlayStation, when I drove, this is before sat-nav, and now to use a map. Who remembers those? All the way to the other side of town, because of an advert in the back of, all the black and white in the back of the newspaper, and bought it. The guy had a PlayStation set up, and he had a Japanese Saturn set up. Obviously different colour pad, but the pad was essentially the same pad that my brother had and I had. So therefore the assumption that this is a Model 1, obviously again people are going, oh, could you not know that? Hey, I just explained. Like I said, I don't have the sort of die-hard enthusiasm for the learning out everything about the Saturn as I do for various other systems. But yeah, just assumed, you know, assumption is the enemy of all things, as they say. And so yeah, so years later, I got Saturn and stuff like that. Then, literally the other day, it died, or it didn't die. The AV out or whatever, you know, the TV out. It just, I couldn't get a signal. It went all fuzzy and crap like that. So I just posted it on Facebook, and two things happened. One, someone, loads of people were saying, if you tried this, if you tried that, and then Luke Morse popped up because he, you know, left a detailed comment on what he thought it would be based on the number of ones he's fixed that have had that problem, and explained how to fix it. So I did what anyone did with, you know, that knowledge in hand. I took a soldering iron and I gave it to someone else who could actually solder, and we took apart the system and repaired it, and it worked. However, an incredibly nice person sent me a Saturn replacement because they had one knocking around that they didn't need, which is unbelievably kind. You know you are. Thank you very much. I would shout you out, but you don't want me to. But thank you so much. And don't worry, I'm keeping it. I don't want to sound ungrateful. Just, you know, I had to, based on the knowledge. It's always good to expand your knowledge and know that the various faults and stuff like that can be fixed. So essentially, I have two Saturns. However, when his Saturn came, I'm like, oh, interesting. Pad's completely different and absolutely horrible, but we'll get to that. That's kind of the point of this video. And there were a few other slight differences. And so then I did actually look up, you know, some information about it. And I've been living under the lie that I've had a Model 1 Saturn. I don't even know why they changed it, to be honest. If you do, because you probably are, if you're watching this video, die-hard Saturn enthusiast, you know, and all kinds of ninja knowledge on the topic, please let me know why they changed it. Was there some inherent flaw or stuff like that? I know that the Model 2 apparently is easier to mod, but I don't want to mod mine because, well, it's the new one. My old one is already modded, but that's not the point. It's easier to mod, I don't know, stuff like that. But yeah, aesthetically, slight differences, and the pad. So, yeah, that got me thinking, and I fired up the pad, and all I can say is, oh my god, what a horrible pad. I don't know if this is a general consensus or some people absolutely love it, but I played on a bunch of games and I hate it, and it hates my hands and particularly my thumbs. Anyway, so here is my freshly repaired Model 2 Saturn. So obviously the difference between the Model 1 and the Model 2 is there's no SEGA logo, which I find really weird. Obviously you all know this, and these buttons here are round. I think it's just, you know, this round, you know, I don't know, the spherical or anything like that, but they're round buttons. So that pretty much is the only difference. And here's the pad that I, you know, because of my brother, and I've never seen any other Saturns around my friend's house then or even now. And to be perfectly honest, the circles I travel in outside of Tinterwebs land, not many people are into retro games and stuff like that. But here's the pad that I always assumed was the Model 1 pad, again because of the pad I saw for the Japanese Saturn that night, all those years ago, around that bloke's house where I bought my Japanese PlayStation. And also I have seen pictures, do you remember pictures in magazines back in the day, when I was reading up, because, you know, before I had no interest in the Saturn, but before obviously the PlayStation was released, these two machines were the first two big, you know, from the big boys that were 32-bit systems. And so that's when I did, you know, always look at it and always assumed that this pad was it. It's an unbelievably comfortable pad. It's the best pad, I still personally think, for fighting, obviously pre the days of analog sticks. Fighting games should always be played on an inline, you know, 6-button pad. As good as you think the PlayStation pad is, I kind of like it. It's shite for fighting games. Shoulder buttons, this goes back to the SNES and Super Famicom days. Shoulder buttons have no place in fighting games. And I guess you could argue this is a successor to the amazing, you know, towards the end of the Mega Drive's life, and Genesis, or, you know, because of the games like Street Fighter 2 and stuff like that released, Sega's amazing 6-button pad. I guess this is just, you know, it's the next step from it. Clearly you can see the similarities, and this pad is absolutely amazeballs. It's amazeballs, and to be honest, I don't, but we'll get to that, I do not understand why Sega did that. You know, was that a Western thing? Did Sega, you know, I'm jumping ahead of myself. So anyway, here's what appears to be a Model 1 Saturn again. So got Sega, don't know why they got rid of that for, you know, the Model 2, and you got these kind of oval-ish buttons, and that's it. Around the back, pretty much, you know, bang on. But, and this is it, like I said, I've been living under a rock as an assumption or a lie, never knew this, but this monstrosity. I was like, first of all, I was missing seeing that, and I thought, is this like an aftermarket pad or something? Really, that is quite the eyesore. That is quite the eyesore. I can only assume that Sega of America, did they have a hand in this or something? Did they do this thing which is the West, I don't know, like big is beautiful, you know, like a car analogy or something like that. We can't have that when it's too plain. Let's make this massive, and let's make the buttons all raised and give it what can only be considered, quite frankly, I've only played on this for a week and a half or so, a week. The worst D-pad, I know, bold words, I have ever had the misfortune of putting my poor thumb into. So if anyone knows the deal with that, why did Sega not just look at the Japanese pad, which was heralded? I mean, as much as it didn't compete with the Sony PlayStation or whatever, although it did beat the N64, it was, you know, general consensus was that was an absolutely amazing pad, a fantastic pad. Everyone loved it. People who imported the Japanese one, you know, I used to read in magazines and stuff, said they really loved it. So what is the deal behind this absolute monstrosity? First of all, if you look at it, the two-tone colour is just, I don't know, the shape. I mean, they cannot have paid money for a marketing department, or design department, I should say, to ergonomically design this, because this is not comfortable in your hands. It's that whole, it drops away from side to side. The D-pad is just, it's these raised prominent bits here, like these little circles, you know, around where the edges of the end of the D-pad would be, and it's sunk in the middle, which is common now, I guess, but it makes it not comfortable. It downright bloody hurts your thumb in specific games. It doesn't sit well in your hands. It's like it's too small. It sits too far up the top of your hands. I do not like it. I do not like it. That's not me being ungrateful to the person who sent it to me, because, you know, thank you so much. I'm just saying, having lived under a lie all these years, weird. And then you look at this one and the way it sits in your hands. See what I mean? Maybe it's me being over the top in my criticism of it, but yeah, this is not a good pad. It blows my mind. Again, if anyone knows this, please let me know. But why would you not go with the Japanese pad? Why would you not go with the pinnacle of evolution of the 6-button Genesis or Mega Drive pad, which was generally, and it also generally considered to be one of the finest 6-button pads. I had one, but I could not find it for this video. And then go with this. Like I said, this is what people assume, you know, the West wants, or they want to, not just because of the color scheme, but they want to differentiate their console from the Japanese one. The Japanese one has got a better color scheme. Anyway, I don't know. Anyway, the games I played on this to test it. No idea why I talk like that. By the way, I'm in the clock room again. If you don't like clicking, talking. If you don't like, clicking, or the tick-tock of clocks, I don't know what to say. I love them. So I played the Virtua Fighter 1, 2. I played Fighting Vipers, Fighters Mega Mix, and do you know what? They're all right on this. It's not a comfortable pad, but I guess you could argue because the lack of the buttons you use, they're all right. But the D-pad, I would say they're slower games than the other fighting games I'm going to talk about. It's fighting games where this is an absolute pain in the ass. To be honest though, this D-pad I find just not particularly comfortable for any game. But when you have to do swift movements with your thumb and stuff, this is like dragging your nuts over sandpaper. It's just uncomfortable. And yeah, so they were all right. But again, I didn't enjoy this, but they were 3 buttons, so they're fine. But because of the way that, the buttons, does that make sense if you can see that? Again, you probably, if you grew up with this, or you know this because you're a diehard Saturn fan, good for you, I didn't. It's just not comfortable. They're just better like that. See how they're more along a straight line or a surface because they extend them across, not flatten out like that. This is probably not going to make any sense. But when I played Street Fighter in this, oh dear God, it was painful. It was horrible. The D-pad was just downright impossible, I found, to consistently do dragon punches and fireballs. And also because after about 15, 25 minutes, half an hour, my thumb was raging. Honestly, my thumb was raging. I stopped because I didn't want to give myself a blister, on my gaming thumb. Not my regular thumb, my gaming thumb. They're interchangeable. So yeah, it was horrible. I played some other games. Trying to think what I played. Platform games and stuff like that. It just, I played the King of Fighters game on the exact same problem as Street Fighter. Too hard to input moves with this D-pad, just pants, and again, something about the buttons just that didn't feel right. You know, the fact that the bottom ones are, you know, incline or hollowed out, and the top ones, you know, bevel. I mean, they do that to some degree on this one, but it's just got better, smoother plastic. That's something else. These are nice, solid, soft buttons. These ones are, they almost feel sharp. I mean, particularly the top ones. Again, maybe you're just thinking you're overreacting. I don't know. Like I said, I've never played with this pad before. Playing with it now as an adult, it's terrible. Fighting games, Street Fighter, X-Men, Street Fighter Alpha 2, you know, not so bad. I don't know why not so bad with the Virtua Fighter series, but like the what I would call, you know, the pinnacle hard graft of fighting games. It's nasty. It's absolutely nasty. Sega Rages, I mean, yeah, how can you, you know, simplistic controls with games like Afterburner and Outrun, you really can't balls those up, can you? You really can't balls those up. But yeah, ultimately for fighting games, this pad is just a waste of bloody time. We'll ignore the fact that it's ergonomically uncomfortable. The D-pad, you know, hurts your thumb. The buttons are also quite sharp and cheap, plasticky crap. Like I said, you know, they just feel comfortable to the touch on the other model, but also it's butt ugly to look at. So all I can say is I didn't know I didn't have a Model 1, and I didn't know that the Model 1, or maybe it's not a Model 1 and Model 2 thing, this is my assumption going on, that the Model 1 had a different pad. And why was one of the greatest pads ever designed just ignored for, you know, for North America in the West, basically? Why did they decide that they could one-up it and then ultimately just make something that's horrible to look at and horrible to use? Bit of a random video, I know, and as I said, I'm not an expert on the Saturn. I may have owned one for 5 years, but I'm really not an expert on the Saturn. I just buy games to play on it that I never got to play as a kid. So I didn't notice, and it just blew my mind that finding out all these years later that why does such a horrible pad exist, and why was it the launch pad for everywhere outside of Japan? Kind of got away from me this video, but anyway, as always, particularly if you know any of the details relating to this because you're a Saturn guru, I would love to know. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you later.